After the overwhelming feedback to our Super Nintendo cartridge stacker video, we thought it was about time we stacked a Nintendo 64 to see if it would work. This time, we started with a stock standard power version of the Nintendo 64 console, and then added the basic peripherals, such as power supply and standard controllers. First off the rank, what 90s classic console wouldn't be complete without an action replay professional? Before the time of the internet, cheat codes were sourced either manually, passed down by a friend, sourced through a magazine, or by purchasing this accessory. Let's take a quick look inside to see what makes this accessory function. The rear of the PCB features basic electronics connecting a male and female Nintendo 64 cartridge slot, as well as a parallel port, which is used to upload additional game cheats via a PC. While the front of the PCB is more advanced, with 2 RAM chips, a ROM chip, a clock counter and a reset switch. Time to reassemble and insert into our console. You know we couldn't stop there, so after scouring the internet, we were lucky enough to get new old stock of a GB Hunter. This accessory was purely released for the Chinese market and enabled Game Boy and Game Boy Color games to be played region-free on your Nintendo 64 console. This accessory simply plugs into the cartridge slot of your Nintendo 64, followed by an original cartridge at the rear. The original cartridge acts as a booting device to override the N64 system, fooling it into booting the console, which is then bypassed by the Game Boy cartridge slot. Let's also open it up to get some insight into how this accessory functions. The rear of the cartridge features a basic PCB, which appears to reroute the signal from the bottom male slot to the rear female cartridge slot, and then onwards to the Game Boy cartridge slot. While the front of the PCB features a generic ROM chip, a RAM chip, as well as a video processor and a voltage regulator. By creating a tower, our intention was to test if an Action Replay Pro would work with a Game Boy Hunter card and additional accessories. Finally, we had a thought: would it be possible to connect a GBA Game Genie to the Game Boy Hunter cartridge, as they both utilized the same original Game Boy cartridge slot? This device was created for the original Game Boy console. With the use of specialized codes provided, this cartridge temporarily manipulates the data entering the Game Boy, which enables cheats such as unlimited lives, walk-through stages, and even unlimited weaponry. And what retro tower wouldn't be complete without an original copy of Pokemon Blue? Enjoying this video? Now's the perfect time to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. With all these accessories being region-free, we were hopeful that the console would boot and play the game cartridge. So on our first attempt, we decided to boot the Pokemon Blue cartridge without using cheat codes. And to our disappointment, the cartridge wouldn't boot. On our second attempt, we would experiment using the cheat codes to see if the Game Boy cartridge would boot. However, we were having the same result, blue screen of death. We then decided to completely remove the GBA Genie device from the Game Boy Hunter to see if this had any effect. Unfortunately, we were having the same result. Our last experiment involved changing the original Nintendo 64 boot cartridge to see if this had any effect. However, this made no difference whatsoever. As expected, it appears that the Nintendo 64 cannot handle multiple cheating booting devices at once. It was entertaining experimenting with these add-ons on the N64.